The Everest Base Camp Trek is a world-famous trekking route in the Himalayas, and it is situated in the Solokhumba district of Nepal. It sees more than 40,000 visitors every year. This region is predominantly occupied by the Sherpa people, and their ancient civilization is evident throughout the district. Everest is more than a mountain, and the journey to its base camp is more than just a trek. First things first, we had to go to the airport. It was not very crowded that day because of all the COVID stuff and all the restrictions on travel. It was like a 40-minute flight. And we are going to Lukla Airport. It is considered as one of the most dangerous airports in the world. Yeah, the landing shook us up.
We fucking bounced 2-3 times.
How's the flight, boys?
Very bumpy, very bumpy.
Anything else?
Anything else?
The flight?
I mean, it was not scary.
It was probably the most turbulent flight I've been on. And I've flown Pokhara to Johnson multiple times. That was pretty scary.
Yeah. We stopped for some snacks and tea, stretching and all, and head out to Lukla town. We had to go through the town. It was a touristy town, lots of souvenir shops. There were even steakhouses and cafes and stuff like that, pubs and all. It was quite a small town, but it is one of the biggest over there. So.
Actually, first even I was thinking
First lap is
So up until this point, the trekking is quite easy. It's not, the elevations are not drastic. You got a gradual incline, your usual ups and downs, but it was quite easy.
Yay! Hello! Let's go. Hello, welcome to. It's very hard. Talk. That's great.
So this is the first time I've been inside one of these hotels, and I gotta say I was pretty impressed because they've done it quite well. They have bars and stuff, and everything is well made. And considering this is like an expensive place, it has a huge compound, lots of buildings. Everything you see was carried by an animal or a human being, and it was quite impressive, like how luxurious it was, like all the things they had. I didn't expect that. I was quite surprised. So we reached our destination for the first day, Everest Summit Lodge in Monjo. Awesome dinner. This is the starting point of the Sagarmatha National Park, and you have to you have to do your tickets and stuff from it.
So we're here right now. This is Namche. We're going to be making our way from here. We're going to be here at Kalapathar for some time, and then this is the base camp. And this is where you go to Everest to do the summit. And that side is the Chinese side.
Even though there's COVID restrictions and all that stuff, there are quite a bit of tourists. I mean, it's really low compared to what it really is normally, but there are still people. Finally, we reach the destination for the day, Namche Bazaar, which means Namche Market. It's considered as the capital of Sherpas. So this is the Namche Gate, beautiful Sherpa architecture, which is practically Tibetan architecture and Tibetan art. It's still beautiful and colorful, and it's awesome. So we go to a hotel. The hotel was named Hotel Namche, which is quite creative. For the rest of the day, we head to the Namche Museum, which was nice. This place where the museum is quite important place, because in this ground, in like 1953, Tenzing Norgay and Edmund Hillary, the first men to climb Everest, they assembled their team over here, the team of porters and helpers and stuff like that. And then we head to the local restaurant, which is quite popular. It was called the Sherpa Barista. And yeah, we had some tea, coffee, snacks. And then after this, we headed out for dinner.
Probably the last one foreign meal before we head up to KFC.
24 hours.
After that, it's all homemade meal.
Which is good.
So this was the night when Liverpool beat Manchester United 5-0. So we were watching that match in a local bar.
Mount Ahmad Ablam.
This was our first detour, which is called Mount Everest View. It's quite a famous place. It's a restaurant and a hotel. It's considered as the highest hotel in the world, I think so.
Second time.
Second day.
It was a fun place with awesome views, and the weather was really nice, and the prices were also quite reasonable. And then we head to the village of Khomjung. This is an important village. This village is one of the oldest and the largest of the Sherpa people. And it was neat and tidy. At the end of the village, there was this monastery which is said to be about 600 years old. And in the monastery, there is said to be a Yeti scalp. Yeti, the abominable snowman. So we reach our destination, Tashinga. Again, another Everest Summit Lodge. They have like 5 or 6 hotels along the Everest Trail. Awesome hotel, awesome food, great service. The rest of the night we just fool around, play Uno. We were the only guests there, so we made the most of it.
You have to give the moves there.
It was Bhutanese cuisine that night, which is, it was just awesome food.
Yes, sir. Any management and local people.
Met some wildlife on the way, which is very nice. And then finally we reach the top of the hill, which is like about halfway to our destination that day, to the monastery of Tenguchi. Again, I mean, just awesome Tibetan art, Tibetan architecture, just awesome stuff.
We are currently at Tengboche Gumba. So supposedly it houses a yeti scalp or something. So we'll go check that out. Sounds interesting. Let's go.
That's where we are.
We're on the way to Bangwache. How many hours now? 45 minutes left. We'll reach there soon. Everyone's fit and fine. 5 hours, we're leaving 4. I can understand now why foreigners want to come here, okay? It's fucking beautiful, man.
And finally we reach our destination, the Pangbuche village. Now this village is an important village because you climb mountains from this village. It's like the last point of civilization before you climb. That's Tobuche Peak, people climb that. But this Pangbuche village is more famous for climbing one mountain, which is this mountain, Mount Amadablam. So I haven't been taking a lot of hotel room videos. This is the only one I took, which is a decent room, decent toilet and all. And this was not Everest Summit Lodge. Everest Summit Lodge is way better than this. I noticed water started freezing at night from this point on. And it was about 6:30 when I took this, and people were already, carrying loads and walking. There's not many tourists, just us. That made it so special. I mean, it was just us and nature. I mean, just emptiness, Nobody. I mean, you should see, videos and pictures of when before COVID, when there were lots of tourists.
can climb that rock, it'll come nice. This one?
Oh yeah, there is something, man.
Day 5. Think what Jay. Let's go.
Beauty, beauty, beauty.
Windy, windy.
These two dogs followed us, male and a female. They were Tibetan Mastiff. They followed us till our destination, and so we gave them dried meat, water, to refill. So even in this barren land, there's still people, making a living, farming and stuff like that. And I mean, it's just, there's nothing grows here. I mean, but there's still, just tough people. So finally, we see our destination for the day, Dingboche. We made good time. The hike was not so tough. It was actually pleasant. And this is our hotel. They had a French bakery, which was quite surprising. I mean, they had these big coffee machines and just everything, cinnamon rolls, muffins and stuff. They baked it right there. And it was good too. We decided to do a acclimatization hike that day, and about halfway climbing the hill, there's this big pasture land for yaks.
It's 4,600 meters, and head is starting to feel a bit light. Some of us are feeling the pain in the back of our skulls, but I think we should be fine. We come here to acclimatize. It's roughly 4,600 meters.
So for the rest of the night, we have our dinners, play cards, Uno, chat, and go to sleep. Early morning, about 7 o'clock, we leave Dingboche. And again, the weather is just, pristine. The best we could hope for. I mean, the weather has been good from day one, From Dingboche to Lobuche, about halfway, it's quite a pleasant hike. It's a gradual incline, not much drastic elevation changes. And we were enjoying ourselves. The views were just the best in the world, and the best part was only we were there. The whole trip. The best part was less people. I mean, almost no people when you're walking in the wilderness. This is a temporary hut for Sherpa shepherds. Look at how small people are. I mean, to give a comparison on how big this landscape is. I mean, the video cannot do it justice.
Right here with the mountains.
Yo, day 6, right? Day 6, Dingboche to Lobuche. Short trek, 4 hours maybe. Beautiful views all around. Surrounded by Amadablam, Lobuche.
Nowhere in the world, eh?
This river gorge is the end of the Khumbu Glacier, and we had to cross this.
Best in the world.
This little bridge was the only bridge that would take people and animal across. I mean, you know, anyone who went to Everest had to cross this bridge. Anyone or anything, you know, had to cross this little bridge. And then we reach the small settlement of Thukla, DHUKLA. Which had about 3 hotels, I guess. So from this point on, a lot of people that turn back because they can't handle the altitude, can't handle the elevation changes, you know. So even we started feeling the effects of elevation changes and altitude changes, just headaches and shortness of breath, getting tired fast. So we had to take things really slowly. On top of the Thukla Pass, there's this place called Chiandara, which means graveyard hill. And it's a place where there's all these shrines dedicated to people who died climbing mountains in this region. The shrines are made by friends and family, and you know, it's like a final resting place. I mean, their bodies are not here; it's just, you know, a tribute, a dedication. But it's a beautiful place to just sit and, you know, look at the scenery. If you're wondering what that line across that hill is, it's a trekking route to a place called Gokyo. So we reach Lobuche, small village Lobuche. That orange building is our hotel, and it's got about like again 6 or 7 hotels. You know, that's it. Nothing grows here. I mean, it's a place devoid of life.
I'm not short of breath right now. So we have to walk which way?
I think we have to go
This way, no? What's the Marty?
between box.
Maybe. Holy shit.
Very small area.
So this is the day we reach Everest Base Camp, and this was a tough trek. For the first 25% of the trek, it's kind of okayish, like this kind of terrain, almost plain, a small slight gradual incline, and then suddenly you hit your steep hills, and you gotta climb elevations really quickly, and that takes a big strain on your body, and plus not to mention the elevation changes. We are right now walking on top of a glacier. The rocks and the muds and some rubbles are just like the surface level covering. Actually, we are walking on ice basically. So this is the Khumbu Glacier, absolutely massive, and it's about 13 or 14 kilometers long, and it's just pure ice. Just on top of it is just dirt and stuff like that, so it seems like it's not ice, but underneath this ice are freaking harder than rocks, man. And us too, we are standing on top of ice. Just these rocks and all are just the covering. Underneath it, it's ice. It's a crazy place. I mean, just no life is supposed to live here, It's a deadly place. It'll kill you, man. And then again, finally, we reach workshop on time. This is the last point of civilization before Everest Base Camp. This is the final stop. So we have lunch, rest, that's our hotel, the Madhun one. And then we are back walking again to Everest Base Camp. Treacherous terrain. The place was super strong, windy. Where you have to walk really, really slow. Otherwise, you're gonna faint. Even a strong man, is gonna faint. You got to take things really slow. And then finally, we reach our goal, our mission. The best part about reaching Everest Base Camp was, it was as if like we had the place all to ourselves. There was hardly anybody around, and that made it 10 times more special. This day we climb Kalapathar. It's like a small hill, which is, it's brutal. And then we walk directly about 14 kilometers to Ferrichi. So two of our friends went to Kalapathar early in the morning at 4 o'clock types. So me and my friend went at 7 o'clock. And the views were just amazing. The weather was, thank you God for the weather again. And halfway to Kalapathar, you can see this amazing view of Mount Everest. That's the big daddy over there. He's the boss, And over there's this small dot, the village of Gorakshep.
Finally made it to Kalapathar, 5,600 meters. You can see Everest at the back.
Again, on top of Kalapathar, it was just me and my friend, and it made it 10 times more special being there because it was just us and the surrounding and then this place. It was magical, man. Now it was time to head back. The elevation started becoming more friendlier. The environment started becoming more friendlier. Energy returned to our bodies. Our minds were getting more clearer. Life was returning to us in our bodies. We are glad to get out of that place because that place is brutal, man. All this way from base camp, Gorakshep, it was all downhill. And it was starting to take a toll in my foot. Anyways, here's some local people doing road maintenance. This is how they do road maintenance. All the rocks you see, they have to smash it out of these boulders and cut into shape and then place it. It's tough work. So that's our lunch stop for this day. That's the Tengboche Monastery, and that's Mount Komde at the back. This day I really messed up my legs because I already had some bruises on the sole of my feet, and it was just downhill after downhill after downhill and walking on rocks. it was really starting to mess up my leg, but I still, carried on. And then we reach our destination, Monju, Everest Summit Lodge again. And by this time my leg was, I couldn't walk properly. I mean, I could walk, but I was slowing the group down. So for the next day, I had to take a horse.
There you go.
So this was the horse, and that's the horse master. That's the guy we hired. And they, kind of make the horses run fast in these bridges, because these kind of bridges are the only straight paths there is. I mean, in these places, there's no, open field to sprint their horses, and so that's the only place they can. This is the lunch for the horse. It's some sort of beans, The horse really loves it. So after about half an hour, I told the guy, just leave it. I'll control the horse myself. And everything was fine. I mean, the horse was obedient.
ये 15
How you feeling?
feeling good, bro.
Oh, boss.
So as you can see, the horse was really small for me. I mean, by the end of it, my knees were kind of hurting, after riding it for like 3 hours. But still, I mean, it was a big help. Otherwise, we would have needed to stop for 1 more day because of my leg. And so this is again, we reached Lukla, the town of Lukla. And again, Everest Summit Lodge, Lukla. So that night we went out drinking in Lukla. Not much else going on. I mean, it was empty, nobody around, just us. So steak, spaghettis, stuff there. There was some lodge food, really nice. So finally heading back home to Kathmandu. Early morning flight, 6 o'clock, and the clock doesn't work in the airport. Time to go back. It was an awesome trip. I'm surely going back again and again. This time it was special because there was no many people around, There's not many people around. It was just us mostly, even in the hotels. And it was just altogether a very special time because we didn't have to deal with a lot of crowd. Now, looking at these houses, these buildings in the city in Kathmandu, it really, kind of depressed me. A little bit, but back to reality now, back to work, whatever. But yeah, I highly recommend Everest Base Camp.